The phone rang at exactly 2:37 a.m. The sharp sound pierced through the silence of a penthouse suite that stretched high above the glittering city. Adrian Cole, a billionaire known for his icy business deals and relentless pursuit of wealth, was halfway asleep when he saw the unknown number flash across his phone screen. He almost ignored it, but something inside urged him to answer. "Hello." His voice was groggy, impatient. "Mr. Cole," a woman's voice, urgent and trembling. "This is Nurse Evans from St. Mary's Hospital. I'm sorry to disturb you, but your daughter is lying unconscious on the street. We've brought her here. She's in critical condition." The words hit him harder than any financial crash ever had. For a moment, Adrian forgot how to breathe. His daughter. His only daughter. The girl he hadn't spoken to properly in months. "Which hospital?" he demanded, already throwing on clothes, his hands shaking in a way they hadn't since his first big business deal. When Adrian arrived at the hospital, the sterile smell of antiseptic mixed with the heavy weight in his chest. He rushed to the ICU, where through a glass panel he saw her, Lily. His 22-year-old daughter, pale as porcelain, a tangle of tubes and wires keeping her tethered to life. Nurse Evans explained softly, "She collapsed downtown. A passerby found her lying unconscious on the street. We think it's exhaustion, maybe malnutrition, but we're still running tests." Adrian's heart twisted. Exhaustion, malnutrition. His daughter was supposed to be living comfortably. He had sent her money every month, well, at least his accountants had. But seeing her frail body now, he realized money had not been what she needed. Lily had always been different from him. She loved art, music, helping people. While Adrian built empires, she painted murals in underfunded schools. They had clashed often. He wanted her in business school, she wanted to follow her passion. Their arguments grew colder over the years, until their relationship became little more than silence. And now, looking at her on that hospital bed, silence was all he feared he had left. For 3 days, Lily remained unconscious. Adrian never left her side. He canceled meetings, ignored board calls, and even shocked his assistants by turning off his phone. The man who once measured life by profit margins now measured it by the rhythm of a heart monitor. He learned from the nurses that Lily had been working multiple jobs to support herself, teaching art classes to kids, waitressing late at night, and donating her time to shelters. She hadn't touched the money he gave her, determined to stand on her own. She didn't want to be just the billionaire's daughter, one nurse said gently. She wanted to be Lily. The guilt was unbearable. How had he missed all this? He had been so consumed with building skyscrapers, yet he had overlooked the fragile foundation of his own family. On the 4th day, she stirred. Her eyelashes fluttered, her lips parted. Adrian leaned forward, gripping her hand. "Lily, it's Dad, I'm here." Her voice was hoarse, barely a whisper. "Dad." Her eyes blinked open slowly. Why are you here?" The question stabbed him deeper than any accusation. "Because you're my daughter," he said, his voice breaking. "And I should have been here long before tonight." Tears welled in her eyes. She turned her face away, weak but stubborn. "You only care now, because I almost died." Adrian felt his throat tighten. She wasn't wrong. The following weeks were a storm of challenges. Lily's condition required a long recovery. Doctors warned that her body had been pushed to the brink, her immune system was weak, her heart strained from lack of care. But the greater challenge was emotional. Father and daughter had walls between them, built over years of neglect, pride, and misunderstanding. At first, their conversations were clipped. She would answer with single words, he would try too hard to fill the silence. Guilt made him overbearing, and her resentment made her push back. One night, frustrated, she snapped, "You can buy companies in seconds, Dad, but you can't buy me. You can't buy time we lost." Her words cut deep, but instead of defending himself, Adrian finally did something unfamiliar. He listened. Slowly, he began to show change, not with money, but with presence. He sat through her therapy sessions. He learned about the charities she cared for. He visited the shelter where she painted murals for children, standing awkwardly in the background as she explained her work. It wasn't easy. His board of directors grew restless. Investors whispered about his absence. But for the first time in decades, Adrian realized that saving his empire meant nothing if he couldn't save his daughter. One particular challenge came when Lily relapsed one night with a high fever. The doctors rushed her back into intensive care. Adrian's old instinct was to panic, to throw money at the problem. But money couldn't lower her fever. Money couldn't soothe her cries in the dark. All he could do was hold her hand, whispering, "I'm here, Lily. I'm not leaving again." And this time, he meant it. Months passed, and slowly Lily grew stronger. Her body regained color, her laughter returned in fragments, and the icy tension between them began to thaw. One afternoon, as they sat together in the hospital garden, she finally asked, "Why now, Dad? Why change now?" Adrian took a long breath. "Because I thought success meant numbers in a bank account. But when I got that call, when the nurse told me you were lying unconscious on the street, I realized I had failed at the only success that truly mattered, being your father." Lily's eyes shimmered with tears. For the first time in years, she leaned against him, resting her head on his shoulder. "Then let's start over," she whispered. Their journey wasn't perfect. There were arguments, relapses of old habits, and moments of doubt. But there was also forgiveness, laughter, and a rebuilding of trust. Adrian began funding Lily's projects, not as a controlling father, but as a silent partner. Together they opened an art and healing center for children from struggling families, a place where creativity could mend broken spirits. And for the first time, Adrian found himself in boardrooms not bragging about profits, but about hope. The story of the billionaire and his daughter spread quietly at first, through hospitals, shelters, and schools. People whispered about the man who had everything yet almost lost the one thing money couldn't buy. But for Adrian and Lily, the true reward was private. It was in the way she called him, Dad, without bitterness. It was in the way he answered her calls without hesitation. It was in the quiet nights when they painted together, two souls finally learning to share the same canvas. And so, the man who once measured life in millions learned to measure it in moments. And the daughter who once thought she was alone discovered that sometimes, even the coldest hearts can change when love is given a second chance. Message of the story: no amount of money, power, or success can replace the simple, irreplaceable gift of being present for the ones we love. We all fall, sometimes even to the point of breaking, but when love steps in, healing is possible.